Welcome back to the channel. My name's Blake, and today we're going to talk about the pursuit of the coveted millionaire status. Against the backdrop of what we have here today, the big city feel, you've got high, towering buildings, nice, beautiful cars riding by, people walking by in nice suits. Clearly a place like this has got to be lots of millionaires, right? So where do we get this idea of becoming a millionaire? Why do we want to pursue this coveted status, right? Well, there's a few different reasons that I can come up with why many of us want to be millionaires. But the first thing I want to do is kind of give you an example of the average person out there. So let's say someone makes $50,000 to $75,000 a year, and over a 20-year period, they roughly make $1 million or $1.5 million. Well, after you pay taxes, after you spend the money that you need to living life, and you save a little bit, can you actually achieve millionaire status as a normal, everyday person in this country? Sure you can. At least that's what the gurus out there will tell you. Lots of advising when you go to see someone to help you create a plan on how to be successful financially. Advisors and different people that maybe have done it, may not have done it themselves, but they give you this idea, and you see books that have been written, let's say The Millionaire Next Door, very popular book. There's all kinds of podcasts and things that are called Millionaire, right? So why do we covet, or why is this idea of us becoming millionaires out there? Well, I think it's one way to encourage people to do something with their money besides just earn it, right? Do something besides just working, own your business, do something financially besides saving, right? Because typically we're talking about saving versus investing on this channel for sure. And in order to achieve millionaire status in most circles, we've got to invest, right? Which means we've got to introduce some kind of risk that many of us may not be really familiar with, right? So why would someone want to be a millionaire? Well, because everybody else is telling you that you should be. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that by any means, but how are you really going to achieve that? And what they tell us is, well, based upon what you make, you have to invest. You have to introduce some risk in order to achieve this thing that we think everybody should achieve, right? So what does it actually take to become a millionaire? Well, let's talk about investing. We've got real estate, which is a really popular topic, mutual funds. If you work a job, you've got a 401k, or maybe you do Roth IRA contributions. We've got these different vehicles, right, that ultimately introduce some kind of market risk, whether it's the stock market or the real estate market. And you are tasked with bearing that risk the entire time you're trying to achieve millionaire status. But you have no control over whatever that vehicle is. Have you ever thought about that? You put your money in whatever you're putting it in, but you can't control whether or not it goes up and down. But we still have this idea that we should achieve millionaire status. And what I want to tell you today is, what about just limiting the amount of money that you spend on debt and interest payments through your life? Have you ever actually sat down and looked at what that is, or what it could be? If you purchase a home, which a lot of people aspire to do, which is a great thing. If you are a college graduate and you've got student loans that you got to pay off, we have debts associated with just about everything to live a normal life. But we don't factor in what that looks like to pay off debt. And instead, we look at what we can invest in to become a millionaire, right? So there's a famous gentleman, Charlie Munger, who's no longer with us, but I'm paraphrasing here. He said the best way to get what you want out of life is to deserve it. Well, what does it mean to deserve something? That means you've got to do something, to put in some work, to put in some effort, right, in order to achieve a worthy goal. That's what it means to deserve something. So what does it take to deserve millionaire status? Whether that's a net worth of $1 million, whether you've got an actual account balance of $1 million that's liquid, you got access to it. How long does it take? What does it look like to achieve that for the average person? And even for people that might be considered wealthy, right? How much debt do you have versus what kind of cash flow do you have? What kind of savings do you have? What is your actual net worth? So what kind of mindset does it take to be a millionaire? Well, I think we actually need to go back to saving, because truthfully, in order to really be a millionaire, you've got to be very frugal. You've got to set aside money for a long period of time in a very systematic and disciplined manner in order to achieve that. Even if you were able to invest and you had an expertise in some kind of asset class where you could invest the money, that takes time, and it takes typically some money too, to learn about that asset class in order to truly be successful with it, as opposed to what the financial gurus out there and many advisors would tell you: just give us your money, right? Let us invest it for you, and we'll pretty much guarantee that you're going to be a millionaire. But does that really work out for most people? There's a lot of noise out there today about what it takes to be a millionaire, maybe how easy it can be. You know, you see videos that say, hey, millionaire in 90 days, right? I found this newest, latest, greatest investment that in 6 months you'll be a millionaire. I don't know if that really works out for a lot of people. I was never able to meet R. Nelson Nash, but his work has tremendously impacted my life and many others. And some of the things that he tried to teach in his book, Becoming Your Own Banker, and also he has a seminar that he recorded, which is available on DVD and streaming if you'd like to do that, a digital form. One of the things he talked about is saving and how much control that we need to take back in what he called the banking function, which is just the movement of the money in our lives, right? So banks usually control the movement in our lives, and they benefit greatly from the movement of that money. And the question is, have you ever even thought about that? Have you ever thought about how you work your job and your money gets deposited with an institution and they make lots of money on it and they pay you very little, and over time they're making millions and you don't achieve this coveted millionaire status, right? And you could be doing the same thing. Well, I wouldn't even set out to actually be a millionaire. I would set out to be the best saver I could be. I would set out to be the most frugal I could be in order to achieve the goal that I set out to achieve. And that goal could be millionaire status, but what if it was just to save money to be prepared for whatever life brings us? What if it was, hey, can I save 20% of my income, right? Almost no one saves 10%, but how about I try 20%? Well, if you make $75,000 a year, that's $15,000 a year that you would save in some form, right? So if you did that over 20 years, that's $300,000. So if you take your mortgage and the vehicles that you'll buy, and maybe you pay off your house or you're mortgage free in 20 or 25 years, and you've saved 20% of your income, and you haven't bought a new car every 2 or 3 years, how much money do you need if you don't have a car payment, you don't have a mortgage payment, you still have a job, and you've saved $300,000 over that 20-year period? And what if by saving, you did that in a vehicle that R. Nelson Nash talked about, which is a whole life insurance policy with a mutual company that pays you a dividend, that has no risk, okay? That if you have a long-term outlook, a long-range thinking mindset, as he talked about, that if you put that same money away into a policy that was built like this, wow, then you possibly could be a millionaire. And that money would be working for you for the rest of your life, and you would have a death benefit so you could leave your family a wonderful legacy, because the risk of you being a loss to them, whether you can't work anymore or you die like we're all going to at some point, what a great thing it would be to leave your family a legacy, right? Or just to leave someone that you care about a legacy, right? So why don't we think a little bit differently than the mainstream and the river of pervasive thought out there that just try to be a millionaire. Just do this investment, do the easy route and just give someone else your money and let them do all the work for you, and abdicate our responsibility of managing our own finances. All of us are capable of doing great things. You don't need someone else to money manage you. You can manage your own money. The question is, have you ever taken time out to really think about that? I challenge you to start thinking about what it could look like to save versus investing if you're not saving. If you are saving, great, keep doing that. You've probably landed on this video because you're looking at the concept of infinite banking or maybe you've read the book, Becoming Your Own Banker by R. Nelson Nash, and you're thinking, how can I save money and actually get increase too? And then possibly get some other benefits that might be associated with that too. I encourage you to get involved in the comment section of this video, ask questions, make comments, tell us what you're doing. Are you on the way to possibly being a millionaire in some savings form? Has that thought even crossed your mind? Are you able to save? Would you like to save? Let's hear from you. And if you've got questions and you want to learn more about becoming your own banker, reach out to me. The website link is in the description of this video. There's a lot of resources on that website where you can continue your learning. But again, I just encourage you to think about what it could look like to save versus invest, and maybe not be so focused on acquiring this coveted status of being a millionaire and possibly getting to these risky investments that you really don't understand, but they're popular and everybody else is doing it. And boy, it sure would be nice to have $1 million in an account or a net worth. Think about saving. It's great to be able to just do what you do in life well and work the job that you have if you enjoy it, and be able to spend time with your loved ones and do the things you enjoy doing in life and not worry about these investments that you have really no clue about, that you can't control, and sometimes you can't even access the money when you need it the most. So I appreciate you stopping by and looking at this video today. And again, what does it look like for you to be a saver as opposed to maybe investing your money? Thanks for coming today. I appreciate you stopping. I hope you got a bunch of value from this video, and we'll see you in the next one. Thanks.